information. And if you listen to his old records, you get all these little, impromptu pieces of information. And he talks about learning from the blacks and living with them all the days of my life. He talks about, he heard all this music by a lot of the black musicians there in Middle Tennessee that were, enslaved and after slavery. He was born in 1870, so he was born 5 years after the Civil War. And the great-grandson, should be able to call Doubler, is Mike Doubler. He's the fellow that's doing this definitive book on Uncle Dave. Well, he did this wonderful photo essay of Uncle Dave. I was down there for the present. He had it at Uncle Dave Macon Days in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. There's a little place called Cannonsburg Village. That was the old name of Murfreesboro. So they have this restored village. And so Mike Doubler, what do you call it when you have like a book signing? Their first issue. He had this, it was like in a magazine form. These photos that no one had ever seen of Uncle Dave Macon. Does anybody here know much about Macon? Have you ever followed, anything about him? Or, have seen photos? Well, he was the first Grand Ole Opry first superstar. He started playing regularly from about 1930. He was on there earlier, but he had a regular venue there on the Opry. And he was 82 years old. They literally had to carry him off a stage. He died about a week later after his last performance in October of 1952. And it was the 20th or 21st of October he died. But anyway, he was quite a gregarious, very intelligent man. There's a wonderful home, the Tennessee Historical Society in 1950, 2 years prior to his death, went to visit him at his home. And you can hear the roosters crowing in the yard and the dogs barking. It's a wonderful thing. And it gives you such insight to what this man was like. And they're asking him questions and, trying to egg him on to play particular pieces. And he's trying to ignore them. And, well, let me play this piece for you, And, we'll do that a little later. We want you to play blah, blah. So it's a wonderful, it's just something, it's like being right there with him. And I've been in his home twice. This is another interesting story. This the old house that he lived in by the time of his death. But anyway, golly, too many things here I'm trying to tell. He recorded several, I think over 108 commercial recordings, maybe even more than that. And he had heard, the minstrel players. His father had owned a hotel in Nashville, Tennessee. His father died very tragically with an altercation with a federal agent, a whiskey agent. You could legally make whiskey. You could be licensed to make whiskey, and there was a lot of the Macons were very Confederate people, and this, liquor agent had been a Union officer during the war and all that. So there was a lot of things that were involved in this altercation. But if you're ever interested in this individual, you should pull him up. I'm sure there's a lot on Wikipedia. But anyway, I was getting back. Yeah, Mike Doubler made this presentation of this photo essay, that all these photos that had never been found or made public of Uncle Dave's wife. I always wondered what she looked like and knew a lot about the family, the Richardsons that he had married into. But the greatest picture was, here was Uncle Dave at age, 1870. I think he was at age 6 or 7 years old in front of his old home place at I can't remember the place in Tennessee. But anyway, how many pictures have you ever seen out of the 1870s where this child is just grinning ear to ear and he's got his fingers up in his little old calluses? The man was just so different for his time even, Here's this wonderful, broad, smiling child. It's just like totally full of life. And boy, when you hear his performances, you can just, he was just phenomenally, physically active, man. He plowed and, he was a typical old Middle Tennessee farmer. He had, crops to deal with, and he loved to butcher hogs and make country ham and all this stuff. And but this one picture, when I saw that, I said, oh, that is just the epitome of this man's soul and character, even as a child. He was just so fully animated. And I was just very attracted to his music because it's it entertains me a lot. I found myself playing a lot by myself not anybody else to play with, and his music kind of felt, especially the vocals, you know, they kind of fill the void of just sitting around playing instrumentals. You can do that on the fiddle. And he used some really strange tunings, and this is one of them, and I don't know what I'm doing. Wasn't that strange? Here we go. So we're back to G. A song called The Bum Hotel, and there were a lot of songs written about people's confrontation, you know, with staying at hotels and boarding houses in the old days, and he had his share of them because he was on the road a lot. He toured with Fiddlin' Arthur Smith, he toured with the Delmore Brothers, he toured with Bill Monroe, and you know, was doing all this in the late 30s and all through the 40s. So he had a lot of his own experiences on the road. Called The Bum Hotel. Shame and a disgrace. I think I'm going to pack my trunk and move to another place. I've never seen the lights before this day that I was born. Why, the tramps came in all yesterday and a whole darn bunch this morn. There's an old gal lives upstairs and a dude that puts on airs. And number 3, they fight like cats and dogs. Down number 1, there's a fiddler and his son, teaching 2 old gals to dance the clog. Now the other night, while sleeping, not dreaming of the chance, why, someone broke into my room and they stole my coat and pants. Well, they even took the bedclothes and snuck away like mice. And when I woke up from my dream, I was hit 3 times or twice. I was full of aches and pains, I called for help in vain. Someone heard me, thought there was a fight. They broke right down the door, stole the carpets from the floor. I slept in a room without a bed that night. Now the other night, so hungry I was tempted for to steal. I worked some for my landlord to get myself a meal. Then he sent me to the kitchen, he said there'd be a feast. But when I saw the table, I'll be darned if I could eat. There was 2 tramps on the floor and a pig behind the door. In the corner sat a busy chicken coop. There was insects in the air and the butter had red hair. And the children, they were playing in the soup. So that's one of the. Now he did... there's a wonderful recording, the home recording. He had a sister who was quite a pianist, and he talks about that. Well, Mike Doubler's pulled up a lot of this history and has been publishing it. She played all the, you know, parlor songs and out of the gay 90s, and she could play anything. And Uncle Dave played guitar. A lot of people don't know that. He played that, I think, before he played the banjo. He got his first banjo when he was 15. And it was an old Buckbee. I have one identical to it. They were made in New York City, 38 bracket, black walnut neck, frets. You had 17 frets. You didn't even have a fingerboard. The frets are right in the neck, and you had, you know, wooden pegs. You had violin pegs. And there were many of them made, and I actually have 2 of them. I have one that was just never played, and it is identical to the one that Uncle Dave had as a boy in 1886 or whatever. Well, on this one recording at home, he insists on playing this song, and it's right out of the old parlor era of playing guitar and piano, and it's called, plays it out of C, or G. Come dearest, the daylight is falling. Come, dearest, the daylight is dawning, the sun's unveiling to see. Come sit by my side, dear old darling, let us wander by the beautiful sea. Let us go where the wildflowers bloom, beneath the bright sunshiny day, where the rose, where the orange dispels its perfume, and the night returns to the day. Oh, darling, how I love thee, like the flowers love the dew. When the moon beams over the billows, my affection and love is for you. Let us go where the wildflowers bloom, beneath the bright sunshiny day, where the rose dispels its perfume, and the night returns to the day. I wish that every zeppelin that sailed from far over the sea would have upon its bosom these affection and words for thee. Let us go where the wildflowers bloom, beneath the bright sunshiny day, and the orange despairs its perfume, and the night returns to the day. That's kind of the parlor music that they would have been playing in the 18th.